Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we're just going to do a very quick installation of Fedora through the net installer. Now, of course, you can go onto Fedora's website and download the Workstation Live CD. That will give you the installation option for installing GNOME. The net installer will allow you to install a lot of different functions, and so what we are going to do is we are going to walk through how to install Fedora from our net installer. So you can download the net installer, and then what we're going to do is boot this up into our system, and then now we can either run the install or we can test the media. The default is to test the media. I'm pretty confident of my media, so I'm just going to go ahead and click install. So this is going to boot us into an installer, and so we will be able to go ahead and install Fedora utilizing a variety of different options. Now this already has a Fedora installed. I just want to reinstall it to show you guys how to do this, and we're going to walk through the advantage of the net installer is you can pick your desktop environments and the other software, so you can basically build a custom system. It does use the Anaconda installer. All right. So here we are. We are in our system here, and we can start by just selecting our languages. Click Continue. It does tell us this is an unstable pre-release. That is because I am doing this with the Fedora 30 beta. And so we are going to go ahead and proceed. The installation for the final release is going to be the exact same. It just does not give you that specific warning. It will be finalized. Now this part here could take up to a couple minutes. What it's doing right now in the background is it is downloading some system information that it might need from the internet. So the net installer basically means that it is installing it's downloads with the minimal information that it needs, and then we go ahead and mount that stuff into your system, and then it's going to allow us to download only what we need for the install. And again, this will take a few minutes, so you'll see that the continue is still blacked out, so I'm just going to stop talking until it's ready to go. Okay, so now we are on to the next screen, and you'll see these guys here are grayed out. It's still downloading information. It is telling us here that our installation automatic partitioning is selected, but it will not allow us to install yet because the disk does not have enough room or whatever else. So we're actually going to start by clicking on this. It's still downloading some of the other packages it needs. So what we're going to do down here is I like to just go ahead and keep things on automatic. And then with this guy here selected, that's good. But again, if I deselect it, then it's not going to let us go through because there's no disks selected. So this is the part that seems to be a little confusing. We're going to click Done. This is going to give us this box that says basically we don't have enough room, so we're going to reclaim space. All right, I'm just going to push my delete all, reclaim my space. Now it's going to go back, and you'll see that this guy is ready to go. Now our installation source, we can select our mirror. It's automatically defaulted to the closest mirror, so that's fine. We're going to go ahead and keep that. If you wanted to use a specific mirror, then you can use this and change some. You can change some different mirrors around and things like that. Now the important one here for us is the software selection. So the software selection is where you can come over here and we choose our base environment, which is our desktop environment, and then we have our various add-ons. So Fedora Workstation is pre-detected. Fedora Workstation means GNOME. That's why you don't find that in the list here. So we have a Fedora, a server edition, which is basically just a server with all the different server stuff. We have a minimal installation. We'll boot into a command prompt. And then we have a variety of different things. So there's Plasma, XFCE, LXDE, LXQT, Cinnamon, Mate, Sugar, Deepin. Now Deepin is new, and the other one that is also new is Pantheon, which is not available in this list. I don't know if it was excluded or if it was intentionally not in the list as of this beta. You can install it. You can install it by installing the Pantheon group once the system is up and running. In fact, we're going to look for it over in the extra add-ons and stuff. I'm actually going to go, let's see, I'm kind of tossed. I want to experiment with, the documents application. So I'm going to need something based on GNOME. And I'm just going to go ahead and use Cinnamon this time. If Budgie were an option, I would go with that as well. And then on our right panel here, this is where we want to look at different administration tools. So do we need administrative tools? Do we need audio production tools? It doesn't tell us exactly what's in each one of these lists, but if you're doing audio production, so let's go ahead and select that one. There's books and guides, Compiz, there's Design Suite towards professional designers related to graphics, web, and animation. We'll go ahead and go with those. And let's see if there's anything else here. Electronics, and I said we're just going to go ahead and see if the Pantheon group is in here, which I don't see it. System tools, if you need some various SMBs, network traffic things. This might include print drivers, not sure. And then there's various Windows managers as well. We're just going to keep it at that for now. We're going to click our Done up here, and then that should get us back up to our installation. And it does tell us that we have an error somewhere. Error checking software dependencies. Okay, so it looks like we have a few dependencies. So it's basically wanting to, let's see, modify software source. I'd have to go ahead and figure out what those dependencies are. That one I'm not completely sure on. Let's just see if I deselect everything over here, see if it's something related to the desktop environment we chose or if it's related to something in our list. Actually, it appears to be related to our desktop environment. Let's go back to here. Let's just give this a try without any software. I've never actually encountered that issue before using the net installer. I've done this several times. It's actually quite interesting. Okay, so apparently it had something to do with some of the software packs I selected. So I'm just going to grab the audio production, see if that's it. We're just going to do a little bit of scientific elimination. Let's see if that gives us an error. So that one's the one that seems to be giving us an error. So I'm going to kick that one off. And we'll do that one. Still doesn't like that. So never actually encountered that issue before. We'll just go ahead and install any software that we need when we're done. All right, so now it's not having any problems. So now that we click this, this is one of the cool things about Fedora is, or the Anaconda installer, I should say, is that it begins to install before you have to enter things. Basically, it saves you a little bit of time. So we want to set a root password. I'm just going to go ahead and set this as a super secure word called Fedora. Now, because it is a weak password, we have to press Done again to use it. For user creation, let's go ahead and also create a user called Fedora. Require a password to use it, yes, and we can make this an administrator as well. So again, it is weak, so we'll have to click that twice to go. So now it's just a matter of waiting until the system is done. Now there's going to be some steps that we need to do when we are done with this, but we're going to go ahead and wait until basically what's going to happen is it's going to do all this, it's going to install everything, and then it's going to tell us that we are done, and then we are going to come back. And as we come back, then we will be able to reboot the system and actually finish the setup once we do our install. Okay, so now that we have completed, we get this screen where it talks about reboot. Now the challenge that we have is that since we're running this in a virtual machine, it's actually going to reboot itself with the virtual machine still in there. So I'm actually going to power the machine down and kick the drive out of it. Now we'll go ahead and restart. All right, so now we are into our login screen. Of course, we did install Cinnamon on this one, so We have OpenBox, Cinnamon Software Rendering, and Cinnamon as options. So we're just going to go ahead and boot into this. Now, if you are installing the workstation with GNOME, when you first log in, it's going to give you some extra options like your location settings and things like that. I don't know if this is going to give us any options or not. So once we get logged into the desktop, we'll be able to see what we are in for. All right, so it did default back to software rendering mode, which makes sense because we are on a virtual machine. So here we are into our system. Let's go ahead and look at get system information, I think. So looking at our system info, we should be on the latest version. We can tell from the icon look. So we are on Cinnamon version 4.0.10. Linux kernel is 5.0.7. You can see what my processor and things are here. And so everything over here looks pretty good. So of course, once you get into here, you can go ahead and make some adjustments to your system as far as like I'll look at privacy. So this is the one that GNOME will actually have the question about this privacy and things like that. Cinnamon doesn't ask you those when you install. So that is the basic installation of Fedora utilizing the net installer. Major advantages are the ability to pick your desktop environment out of the box. And I'm not sure what was up with the audio packages there, but it did not seem to allow us to install those. So there's some dependency there that we need to work on. I'm not sure if that was because we're on a beta or if whatever else that was. I really like the theming on this. This is actually very nicely done theming here. This looks very good, very nice, very clean. So there is our Fedora install. So thanks for coming along on this brief video. You can follow along other videos on the channel. Have a look at the links above me or in the description down below to help support the channel, and have a look at the social media accounts if you'd like to follow along.